Today we're back in the kitchen for another episode in my Make It Happen at Home series where I teach you guys how to make your favorite recipes from the comfort of your home. Today, orange chicken is on the clock. A lot of people eat this at Chinese takeout restaurants or Panda Express, but I'm gonna show you how to do it even better right at home. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right, so what I like most about this recipe is it's incredibly simple. There's really only two things that you absolutely have to nail. Number one, most importantly, what makes bad orange chicken or any chicken from a Chinese takeout is if it's soggy and not crispy. So we have to get the crisp factor down packed. That's numero uno. Knocking out crispiness, and then right after that comes flavor. So we gotta make sure that the sauce is well balanced. It's gonna have a nice sweet profile. You're gonna get some of that orange flavor. It's gotta be balanced. Can't be too sweet, can't be too spicy. I like to add a little bit of Fresno chili to mine for a hint of spice. That's totally optional. You could also add some red pepper flakes if you don't have access to Fresno chilies, or you can leave the chilies out altogether. But those are the two things, crispiness and flavor. That's what we're focused on today. All right, so when it comes to flavor, it all starts with the actual type of protein that you're using. You can use chicken breast or chicken thighs. Now, in my opinion, chicken thighs have a little bit more flavor. They're more forgiving because they have a higher fat content. So if you accidentally overcook them, they're still gonna be juicy. There's some fat in there that's gonna save the day. You can trim some of this fat off, which we're gonna do today. But for the most part, I like thighs over breast, but I would use whatever I had in the fridge or freezer first, and then if you're at the grocery store, you know, you can make your decision on what you enjoy. So we're gonna trim off some of this excess fat, just like the pieces like this that aren't gonna be enjoyable to eat. It's gonna be kind of chewy. And then we're gonna cut these into nice size, you know, bite-sized pieces. Try to make them about as even as you can. That way they all cook at the same rate. Another little fat deposit, we're gonna get rid of that. Now at home, it's good to get in the habit of using separate cutting boards for your protein and veggies. You can color code them like they do at the restaurant. With food safety at my restaurant, we usually use red for protein. So we have that here. That's kind of just a habit of mine at this point. Green for, you know, veggies and produce. Or just wash it. If you only got one, just, you know, wash it in between use. I'm gonna keep these pieces kind of large because they're gonna cook down a little bit when we fry them up. There we go. Just repeat that process till all of your chicken thighs are prepped.
And today's episode is sponsored by Burnbox. Now, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I've been on my fitness journey for quite a while now. And one of the things that helped me stay in relatively decent shape is fasting. Now, I've historically done a lot of intermittent fasting, and I've struggled to do longer term fasting, but that's where Burnbox has come in and saved the day. Burnbox is a science-backed fasting kit designed to accelerate fat loss, support metabolic health, and make prolonged fasting easier and more sustainable. With hunger-fighting shakes, hydration essentials, and expert guides, it provides everything you need for a successful and energizing fasting experience. This Burnbox kit includes a step-by-step fasting guide on how to safely fast without feeling tired or dizzy, delicious grapefruit flavor anti-hunger fiber shake to keep you full while fasting. That was super clutch for me. Zesty lime electrolyte booster to keep headaches and dizziness away. Soothing bone broth to fight nausea and hunger pains. It also comes with a post-fast healthy meal plan with cheap, simple ingredients to help you reach your weight goals. I'm a huge fan of Burnbox, and I think you'll like it too, so go ahead and click the link on the screen and enter the code to get 10% off your Burnbox fasting kit.
So now that we have all of our chicken cut into bite-sized pieces, it's time to hit it with a real quick marinade. This marinade is going to do two things. We're going to add a little seasoning that's going to add flavor, and then we're also going to add buttermilk, which has a high acid profile. That acid in the buttermilk is going to help break down the muscle tissue in the chicken, which is going to tenderize it and make sure that it doesn't get like real rubbery when you cook it. So you want to, do this 30 minutes up to 3 to 4 hours at the most. You don't want to let it sit in the buttermilk too long because that acid will break it down a little bit too much and it'll ruin the texture of your chicken. So just a couple hours at most is probably all you need for this particular recipe. Chicken thighs already have some nice flavor to them, so no need to go too crazy on your marinade. We're keeping the flavor profile simple with a little all-purpose seasoning because there's a lot of flavors in that sauce and we don't want them to compete too much. So we got our buttermilk, we got our seasoning. Get in there with your hands, give it a mix, a little massage, pop it in the refrigerator, 30 minutes to 2 hours. up to 4 at the absolute max. I wouldn't do like an overnight marinade for this one. All right, folks, now it's time to get started on our sauce. We're gonna add about a tablespoon of avocado oil to the skillet over medium heat. We're gonna go in with the whites of some green onion, our Fresno chili, 1 chili in total. Again, this is optional. If you don't want it to have any spice, it's fine. I like the balance that it provides with the, you know, sweet and acidic flavor profile of orange chicken. Give that a little saute. We don't want it to cook thoroughly. We just want to kind of get the party started, let it toast a little bit. Already smelling good right out of the gate. That's a good sign. Now we're going in with our sugar. This is 3/4 cup of white sugar. We're going to add 3/4 cup of white vinegar as well and give that a mix. Allow that sugar to start to dissolve, and then we'll add in our low sodium soy sauce. Next up, my friends, we're going in with a tablespoon each of garlic and ginger, and then 2 tablespoons of honey. After that, we're going in with the juice and zest of 1 large orange. Work in that garlic and ginger, add in our honey. A couple tablespoons of that. Then we're going to zest this orange. Then we got to get that orange juice in there. Good to the last drop. All right, guys, so at this point, this is kind of the most tedious part of the process. You want to allow this to really simmer and reduce for a good 10 minutes. That's going to allow the sauce to kind of naturally thicken up a little bit and let the flavors really come together. Right at the very end, we're going to add a slurry, which is a combination of water and cornstarch. That's going to give you kind of that consistency that you're used to with takeout food. But if you let this simmer long enough, you may not even need to do that. But just for consistency's sake, we're going to add a little bit of a slurry towards the end. But 10 minutes of simmering, just constantly kind of whisking it, letting it do its thing. 10, 12 minutes max, we should be good to go. All right, guys, so to ensure our chicken ends up crispy, the ratio that we're going with is 1 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 cup of potato starch, and a 1/2 cup of cornstarch. That is going to ensure that we have some really nice texture and crunch on our chicken. There we go. There's our potato starch, and let's get the cornstarch in there. Fresh out of the buttermilk. Going right into this. We're going to season it with just a little salt and pepper. Again, the sauce is kind of where we're getting a lot of our flavor from for this. You don't want it to be competing with one another. There's a lot of salt or sodium in the sauce from some of the other ingredients, like the soy sauce specifically. So no need to go too crazy on the flour. Now, my friends, it's time to fry. So our oil is up to 365 degrees. We're going to go ahead and drop our chicken in. Be careful when you're putting it in the oil. You don't want to get any splatter on you or your cameraman. But if you got to choose, always protect yourself first. These go fry up really quick. They're relatively small pieces. Looking at probably 6-7 minutes or so. I'm going to do this in 2 batches. One thing you want to keep in mind, you don't want the chicken to stick to the bottom of the pan or to each other. If they stick, they're going to burn. So after a second or two, I like to get in there and just move them around a little bit just to make sure they're not sticking. And then just let the oil do its thing. All right, guys, once the chicken is fried to a crispy perfection, we're gonna go ahead and put it on a wire rack so it can drain and cool just a little bit. Meanwhile, we're gonna reheat our sauce, get it nice and hot, break out a wing bowl, add the chicken to the bowl, add the sauce, give it a toss, and then it'll be time to plate this up. All right, people, after we plate it up, we're going to garnish it with a little sesame seed, if that's your thing, a little chive or green onion, whatever floats your boat. This is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, guys, as always, this recipe and every recipe on this channel can be found at MrMakeItHappen.com. I found my chopsticks. It's time to dig in for the taste test. Moment of truth. That's good. Still got a little crunch factor, even though we've been taking thumbnails for the last 15 minutes. Damn, that's good.
Yeah.
Alright, the glaze is sticky. It ain't watery or nothing.